and welcome to Deals with Heels, where female entrepreneurs thrive. I'm Debra, your host. Welcome to the show. Super excited about this week's guest. She is in marketing and branding and has a great branding business and lots of great experience. I can't wait for her to share her knowledge with all of us. I hope everyone had a great week. Let's just dig right in, shall we? Mariana is an Emmy-winning filmmaker and founder of brandmagnetic.com. Her Emmy-winning work has been featured on the homepage of the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Inc., Time, and the Today Show. Pretty impressive. And she's worked with brands like Microsoft, Hulu, Wells Fargo, and HP. Now she focuses on helping coaches and online business owners stand out, build trust, and accelerate sales with brand video. Please welcome Mariana Henninger to Deals with Heels.
Hi, Debra. Hi, everyone.
So happy to have you on the show. And you have such a great background. Emmy award winning, I'm just getting tongue tied today, filmmaker, such a big deal. Tell us about your journey and how you kind of transitioned from filmmaking to doing brand video.
Yeah, of course. So I was a journalist for about 15 years. I traveled the world, like quite literally, Afghanistan, Haiti, Ukraine, Finland, everywhere, Guatemala. I was able to really meet people where they were and find stories that made other people care. Right. So that was my biggest goal as a documentary filmmaker. That was the thing that drew me to documentaries. A good documentary will make you really care about somebody's story that you'd never experienced before, or maybe never even thought about or realized how layered it was. And I had to learn to build trust really fast with people. I had to learn two things. I had to learn to build trust fast with them because I couldn't stay a whole month with every story that I was telling. I had to, sometimes I had a day, sometimes I had a few days. But the second thing was learning which parts of their story was going to make the most impact for the person, usually a US based audience watching that story in about 3 or 4 minutes. Like, how could I summarize, how could I tell their story in a very short amount of time, but in a really, really impactful way? And so that was about 15 years of my life in all these different brands and news organizations that you shared. I was at NBC for about 5 years, working out of 30 Rock, just it was a dream job. I loved it. Yeah. And it did get to a point where I started hitting kind of the swimming pool walls where, things were either tightening around me or I wanted to just explore and do kind of something different, and realizing that I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I am inside a big corporation. This is not my business. Right.
Right.
And at the same time, I've always been a closeted entrepreneur. I've always really felt like, one day I don't want to ask for a raise anymore. I don't want to have to, really advocate for myself. I just want to make my own decisions, but I wasn't the one paying the bills. So there's a level of lack of control that you have, obviously, in the corporate world. And it got to the point where it was kind of like, if not now, when? I've lived my dream as a documentary filmmaker. I was able to win an Emmy. I was nominated for a second one. I got to tell all these amazing stories, but I still didn't really have faculty of my own decisions or over how much money I made. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to jump ship. I need to do this on my own. And I knew that working with entrepreneurs, a lot of them females, but I work with men as well, was where my heart was. I love the idea of starting your business from scratch. I love people whose businesses reflect their values and whose values are really present in everything they do. And they care about carrying their personal values into their business. And those are the kinds of folks that I love to work with. And so what happened was I got into the online space and I realized that I had a lot to learn about marketing. I was interested in marketing, but I didn't know that much about it. And so as I started diving in, you might imagine what happened to the algorithm, right? Where it started feeding me so many ads and coaching offers. And, they're like, oh my gosh, this girl wants to build a business. Let's attack her with all of these offers. And as I was signing up for things, Debra, you're lead magnets that sound so juicy. You're kind of a beginner business owner where everything seems urgent and necessary and like, oh my gosh, I need this, I need this, I need this today, all of it right now. As I was signing up for everything under the sun, what would happen was I would start getting emails from the people whose lead magnets I'd signed up for. And the second they started hitting my inbox, I'd be like, who the heck is this person? Like I could not remember anybody from anybody. It was just a sea of names, a sea of offers. And I was like, this is a mess. And I knew that I had probably signed up for something, but I could not keep track of anyone. Essentially, I started realizing that, wow, like nobody sticks. And these are individual people. Most
Mhm.
of the things that I was signing up for, there was like a person behind it. And I realized like, why are these people not, I'm like, nobody's memorable here, right? I'm signing up for something that sounds amazing, but I'm get they all get so like it's a sea of sameness inside my inbox. It's a sea of sameness in my feed, and it really clicked for me. I was like, these people are not taking advantage of the idea that they could be making an instant personal connection on impact, right? The moment that I sign up for something, that is the moment that you should be grabbing my attention and creating a connection whereby once you start showing up again, I will remember your story. I remember who you are. I will pay more attention to you and I will accelerate trust with you because I know who you are first. And what happened, I mean, I can go on and on and on, but basically I started understanding why people were doing this. We've kind of gone from a world of making it all about us. So, 5, 10 years ago, but probably 10 years ago at this point, you'd go on somebody's website like, we are the leading brand. We're amazing. Here are our accolades. We would make it all about us. And I think we've shifted a lot with the help of Donald Miller and Story Brand. He did an amazing, pivotal work in this field, which is like taking our attention away from ourselves and putting it on our client as the hero. However, I do think that in the process, we've lost the importance of who we are to the business. And it doesn't mean you make all of your marketing about who you are, but it means that if you're not making that instant personal connection, you are then competing for attention in a very bad way. Like there's a lot of noise that you could have given yourself the competitive advantage against by having built that personal connection first. And so I started really understanding how I could bring my storytelling skills to the table, specifically because I had always worked on subject led stories. So, instead of telling the story of inflation, I told the story of Rachel, who was dealing with inflation because she couldn't pay for her family's food, right? Like it was
Right.
Rachel's story versus the story of inflation, for example. So anyway,
I
that
think
is
that
how the business was born.
it's such great timing because the prevalence of AI coming out in that industry.
Oh yeah.
And frankly, I think that we have less to worry about in our industry than in other industries from AI. For example, computer programming, software engineers, most of the code, I bet 25% of the code being written right now for that is written by AI already. So I definitely see some trends there. I can tell when video is made by AI, right? I mean, there's some AI receptionists, for example, and that can really garner a lot of empathy when you're talking to them and they're answering questions. But that's different than having a video presence that's authentically to you, the business owner.
Yeah.
And building, for me, I see a lot of content being made that I call vanity content that attracts vanity metrics, right? So I sell a lot of digital advertising, for example, and like the banner ads you see on websites and
Hmm.
apps. And when you click to those, they click to your website, to your funnel, and you funnel them in. It doesn't matter. I might get 5,000 clicks to your website, right? If clicks made money, then that would be great. But clicks aren't what make money. You have to actually generate a lead. The whole thing has to work together to do that. And I think there's a lot of content that I don't know that it's clickbait. That's a totally different thing. But I think that it's not authentic to your values and it doesn't show who you are as the business owner. It doesn't really brand in that way. It brands to get those vanity metrics, those clicks and those engagements and all of those. But those don't necessarily translate to sales for the
Hmm.
new business if they don't make that connection and that identity.
Yeah.
You do have to build demand for just your products and services to fill the bucket of people that want ice cream, if that's what it is, right? So you are going to talk about your product, but more importantly, branding is about branding you as the provider of choice of those. People do business with people,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
so that's what I really liked about your story, because documentaries, I think, are performing better. I think there's more of them. I think more filmmakers are getting focused on them. And I think there is a trend coming that it really wants that personal authenticity in it, because we're seeing so much that isn't, right?
Yeah.
That we're really attracted to that authentic story and how that happens. Like your example of the woman that's struggling with inflation. You talk about just inflation, we're also kind of nose blind to that, but when you talk about how it affects this individual personally, right? That is so powerful. And it's powerful not just in filmmaking, it's powerful in our regular video too. And we don't see it very often.
Yeah. I actually talk about hitting the 4 trust triggers with your story. So your story is actually not about yourself.
Right.
Yeah, it really is about how you make your audience feel and getting them to feel trust for you as soon as they've watched it. So it's the feeling that you generate right after they've watched your story. And so what you need to do is really understand your audience deeply so that you can reverse engineer from your audience back into your story and understand which parts of your story are going to hit those 4 trust triggers. So people are watching your story, they want to know who you are because they want to know that you get them deeply, that you really truly get what's keeping them up at night, the actual transformation that they desire, or the actual results that they want. They want to know that you care about them so that you're not just a number on their sales page, a number on their Stripe screenshot account. They want to know that you really care about getting them the results that you're promising. They want to know that you get them, that they're in the best of hands when they work with you or when they buy your product, that they feel taken care of and that they can relax because you're the expert. You're the person who really knows how to solve that problem and that you have experience doing so. And the last one is that your personality is a fit, your values align. And you mentioned earlier that people do business with people, and even more so, people buy more often and they buy more from people that their values align, right? And so if you can spend that $10, that $1,000, $100,000 on different offers that might sound the same, might look the same, you're going to go for the one whose person behind it has values that align with yours. You want to
Right.
know
The
that your dollars are
connection.
right. And I think even more so, I think with what's happening in politics, people are way more aware of the brands that they're supporting and what they're supporting behind that brand.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%. And I love the making a connection on its basic level. And you guys have heard me say this before. Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. I'm enthusiastic. Look at this great thing I have. Let me show it to you. And if you can transfer that enthusiasm to the other person, then you can make a sale, a connection with them. And so being authentic and doing it the way you're saying and following your method, is it makes a connection, right?
Absolutely.
That's the whole
Yeah.
point of it,
The
is
whole
to
point is to make that connection. So we do that with a video, top of funnel. We do that with a video that it's one video that's in your email signature. It's pinned to the top of your social media profile. It's on your about me page. So if you're the face of your brand, your homepage, but otherwise on your about me page is second most visited page on any website is your about.
Mhm.
Why? Because people want to know what, like, who is this person? Who's the team behind this? It is also on your sales page, like a little bit further down, depending on what you're selling, depending on what your funnel looks like. There's so many different ways to use this video, but the idea is that every single person that comes into your universe should watch that video right away. They should watch that video because after they've done that, every piece of content that they interact with coming from you is going to come from somebody they already trust versus that stranger in my inbox, in your inbox, where you're like, you can't keep track of who it is, or like, are they cold pitching me? Like, how did they get my email? Instead, it's
Right.
coming from Deborah, who I know, like, and trust.
I love that. I had a couple of email marketing experts on the show who talked about, because I asked about video in the email.
Mm.
And sometimes that can trigger some of the spam warnings because if a video
Yeah,
automatically plays, it can download. Do you have
sure.
any suggestions on making
Yeah.
sure that it doesn't kind of get us flagged?
For sure. So I don't recommend embedding the video in the email. So what I do with my clients is that we create GIFs from the email, or I'm sorry, from the video, and then we intersperse that inside of the email with a call to action. So the email signature link to your brand video, which would be on every single email you send, that's a
Right.
link text. So I'm sorry, a text link. It's a text link in your email signature that sends people to your brand video page or your About Me page. This is another kind of ninja strategy that we implement, which is creating a dedicated page for your brand video with a single, it's a page that hosts your brand video sort of front and center, and then a single call to action button right underneath. So if you're curious of what a brand video is and you want to watch mine and you want to pause this podcast and come right back, it's brandmagnetic.com/Mariana, Mariana. And you'll see that it's my brand video there. It's about 3 minutes long. And then there's a single call to action button, which I actually change depending on what I'm promoting. Right
Hmm.
now, I think it's a free resource. But if I'm promoting like a masterclass or an event or anything like that, you can just change the call to action that people who are clicking on that for the first time can sign up for. And Deborah, I still have to pull up the exact stats, but there was a time when I was promoting something, and I can't, I was interviewed on a podcast. It came out. So people were accessing that link that I just shared. And I cannot tell you the number of people that literally jumped on that page, bought my $27 offer. Just like it was immediate conversion from watching my brand video. And so it really is amazing. This is my story. My clients have a bunch of stories of how watching their brand video made people so much closer to the sale. I have another client who talks about where they skip those 5 emails back and forth with clients, and when they jump on the sales call, they just want to know the details. They're already sold. And so it really is incredible how much that personal connection piece is actually really missing in our marketing.
That's awesome. I love clicking to that page from your signature because rather than attaching it, because it takes it
Yeah,
in, because the click gets them into the funnel, right? Just
exactly.
opening and reading and watching the video doesn't get them into the funnel.
That's
And
an even better reason. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
You don't
I
get flagged and you get them in the funnel.
exactly. That's the whole key. We're doing it for the funnel. We're not doing it for fun. We're doing it to it's an important message to get out, but it's also because we're
We
doing
want to
it for a
direct them
reason.
in a specific way. Yeah.
Yes, 100% we do. 100% we do. Another thing that I liked because I think I'm guilty of it. Often I have people on the show and I'm like, I want to talk to them about that because I think I might be doing that. And that was
Yes.
microdosing
Okay.
content to
Yeah.
your client. People do that by not being authentic, right? You just get a little bit of whatever about Deborah in this video and yes, we do want to tease it, right? There's a place for that. But anyway, so I identified a little bit. I went, ooh, that sounds like maybe something I'm doing, probably because I'm not very good at managing all this time I have. And we're terrible about promoting our own shows, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so tell us what you mean by microdosing our content and how all of us are probably doing it.
Yeah. So I think the best way to explain it is to understand what happens with the vast majority of people when they are the very beginning of a customer journey. So let's say you see a comment, or your explore feed or the algorithm surfaces something that they think you're going to be interested in, and likelihood they're right.
Right.
And what is typically the first thing we do? We watch that content, we're hooked by whatever that piece of information is. The very next thing we do, most like 99% of the time, is we want to check out who that person is, right? Like, where's this
Mm-hmm.
coming from? So we go to their profile, or maybe we're adventurous and we actually go out of that platform. Let's say it's happening on social media. We go on their website. we want to check them out. And what's happening is, I call this the magical curiosity moment. It happens very top of funnel. And what we're doing is we're checking them out in the privacy of anonymity, right? Where we haven't given them any information about us. We don't want to be talked to. We're kind of entering the store and like, don't ask me if I need help.
Don't sell me
I
yet.
just want to check it out. Yes.
I don't want to be sold yet. And then later, you're like,
Exactly.
where's that damn
Leave me
salesperson?
alone. Exactly. We want to remain anonymous, but we want to know, wait, who is this, right? Who is this person? Who's this team? Who's this business, etc. Fill in the blank. And what we're doing there is we're piecing together who they are. And the terrible thing that we do, Debra, most business owners, is that we will write our about me page or about us page begrudgingly in the third person, being like, ugh, I hope this is okay. And then we leave it and we're like, done. Check that box, and we never revisit it again, right? It's like
Mhm.
written begrudgingly and we leave it alone. Again, that is incredibly important real estate. It's real estate that nearly every person that's coming on your website is reading because they want to know who you are. And so what I mean by microdosing is that we are focusing so much on providing value and talking about the results and talking about the transformation and making it all about our person, that we are making it hard for them to answer the question, but wait, who are you? We don't even pay attention to that question. We don't answer that question. I mean, some people will have like about me carousel or something, and that helps. It's typically not sticky. I can't remember a single one that I've
Mm.
consumed and actually remembered their story. And this is why we were chatting, before you started recording, about how important video is, how powerful video is in that stickiness, in that it resembles, like, there's so much you can intentionally architect in a video to make it sticky, to make us really go through that journey together. And the more you feel, the more you remember. And that's exactly how the brand video is architected, in that we want to take people on that journey, make it all about them by using our story, making it all about their experience and hitting those trust triggers, so that at the end of watching that one piece of video, they understand that you get them, you care about them, you've got them, you're the expert, and our personalities are aligned, our values align. Oh my gosh, you're that go-to. In my mind, you've created real estate in my mind that you were the go-to for that thing that you sell. And so if we're not doing that, what we're doing is we're giving them little tiny bits about who we are over the course of 6 to 12 months. And that's the biggest myth that I like to break, is that it takes that long to actually convert somebody. Your people are ready to buy way sooner than you realize. And what we're doing is we're just assuming they're not. We're assuming that they want that long nurture sequence.
And I think part of that, I'm gonna just be real honest. You guys know that I can spit out some Deborah truth. And what I'm gonna say is that it's difficult for a branding agency to do a lot of branding content if they don't know the person and they are just focusing on the external things, the external core values and what their business looks like visually, as opposed to
Mm.
getting really in to know that person and that business. And so it just becomes that you're just making a lot of video and a lot of content, but it doesn't have enough meat and potatoes in it to tell your story and to sell it back to them. No one wants to put in sales content. They just want to have random content of, if you're an organizer, a video of you doing something. Well, that doesn't really speak to who they are, make an emotional connection. It might make someone say, man, I need her to come to my house and clean that up and do it for me, but it doesn't make that
Doesn't make her the
emotional.
one, right?
Right. And I think that a lot of branding agencies do that because one, they don't have the client participation that they need. So they're not asking the right questions to really get them to dig in
Mm.
deep back.
Yeah.
So what if someone is looking to hire, let's say they're like, I'm sold, I want to have video, I want to do some branding video. What are some tips to help them find a good branding agency to help them with it?
That's a great question, Deborah. I wish I had other people to recommend.
Well, I don't mean for recommending other
Yeah.
people. I really from
What should they be
even your
looking for?
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah.
what are the green flags for a video agency? So if I'm in Oklahoma and I want to hire somebody to come out and make a video and you're in New York, so I can't get you quick enough to come here or pay your travel fees.
Well, we
So
work with folks all over the US. So if you'd like to work with us, we can make it happen. We work with everyone locally. What we do is we have a network of vetted cinematographers that are very specific kind of cinematographers that I work with in each part of the country. So we have a massive network. So we essentially hire locally,
mhm,
and so that wouldn't be an issue. However, if you do want to maybe work with somebody local or whatever the case may be, to answer your question, what I would be looking for is somebody who is going to do that really deep audience research that work that you just talked about.
mhm.
Knowing your audience deeply, hopefully you know your audience really well, but you should be working with someone that's going to push you even deeper. If you do not have that deep understanding of who you're speaking to, your video is going to come out really flat and it's not going to convert in the way that it should or that it could. And so that's the number one thing I'd be looking for, even more than, technical quality of the video and things like that. The other thing I would be looking for though is somebody who can tell your story with what I call emotional visuals. So a lot of video agencies, they use the term B-roll and it's the right technical term. I'm not going to like put that down. I use that technical term, but
Right,
the
we all
reason
do. It's industry, but B doesn't mean it's the B team, folks. It's
right. I
important.
mean, the reason we call it emotional visuals is because your visuals should actually play a really active role in moving the needle forward in terms of creating that emotional connection. It's not just coverage, right? And so you should be looking for somebody who's thinking about your visuals in a very creative way. It's a lot of like metaphorical visuals. So how do we illustrate feeling and emotion of your story and not just you on a computer or you like very literally kind of doing the things that you're talking about. So that's the thing that we work a lot on with our clients is just coming up with really creative ideas of how to use visuals to make people really disconnect from the fact that they're watching a video and really just live your story with you and all of the feelings. Again, your story being about their experience and about what's important for them so that at the end of watching this 3-minute video, they have this really intense connection with you that only happens if you're going again below the surface on every single frame.
It is really important. Branding video, you guys, isn't just to showcase your business and what it does. It still
Mm-mm.
has to sell. It still has to connect emotionally because to transfer enthusiasm, there has to be a connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's great advice. I can tell from just talking to her and she's asking those questions that she's going to get really in depth in what makes your business tick? Why did you choose this business? How does it make people feel? How do you want it to make people feel? What do
Hmm.
you want people to think and feel after they watch your first video, their first impression of you? And get really deep in that. So if you're not going to hire her, and you still would work with them, you just get the videography done locally,
Yeah,
right?
we do. Yeah, we do everything
Right.
remotely, and then it's filmed in one day locally. Yep,
Right.
and then
Because
our
you will
team
have done
edits.
all the work, you guys, to ask all of those questions. And there's sometimes uncomfortable questions to ask. And video people are creative and they sometimes don't want to ask those questions. So be sure that you take those tips to heart when you're hiring a videographer, and not just a videographer, but somebody that can really get to know you and help you to express your brand identity in video and help you if you don't know your brand identity. People don't. It's hard to think
It's hard
about
to know
it.
yourself. Yeah. The
It
way that
really
I
is.
describe it is that you can be the best surgeon in the world, but performing surgery on yourself is really, really tough. And so doing that internal work while keeping your audience in mind and sort of at the center of this entire endeavor is really challenging. It truly is hard to do it by yourself. So I recommend whether we work together, where you work together with somebody else, like really do it with somebody who knows what they're doing and can kind of guide you in the right direction so that your effort is not put into a video that doesn't actually move the needle for your business, but also you have, you need to have more clarity than doing it by yourself just because it's hard to
It's hard to look
it's hard to
inward.
exactly. It's a little bit of a mind joggle. Yeah,
And
for
we
sure.
get kind of an emotional deaf spot about our own stuff, right? So we're looking and we don't even notice that part that sounds kind of awkward or that, right? We don't see
Right.
it because we've
Or
done
a
it
lot of
so many
times, yeah,
times.
a lot of times what I hear from my clients and students, they're like, I don't know if this will sound better or this will work better. And having that outsider perspective really, really helps in kind of deciding which angle to take or which story to tell, how to tell it.
Yes. Yes. So amazing. Really, really good stuff. Um, if what are some good like call to actions to use? People I think struggle with putting a call to action in place. I always like to put some pain points in there, which is exactly what you're talking about. The customer message is their pain point, right? What
Mm.
problem are you solving to connect with them? But what are some tips with for making some call to action? I think people think a call to action has to sound buy now, call today, and it doesn't.
No, absolutely not. So the interesting thing, Deborah, is that in our brand videos, we don't use call to actions. And the reason is, yeah, I'm glad you're shocked. You should absolutely use call to actions in nearly everything else you do.
Why? But I mean, not necessarily in branding, but
Exactly, right? In terms of content, right? So the reason we don't use a call to action is that this particular brand video that we create is meant to feel like you just had a really intimate personal conversation over coffee. I just got to know Deborah as a person, and that's it. She happens to be an expert at this. She happens to have these passions and these values. And now, after watching your video, I've gotten to know you as a person. Everything else around this video is going to have places where I can go into your funnel, right? It's going to
right.
but
You're
now I'm magnetized to it,
right.
right? I've not directed anywhere. I'm literally like, "Oh my gosh, Deborah." Right? "Oh my gosh, this person I'm now really paying attention to because I've connected with them." And so this particular video, it's unlike any other marketing video that you'll ever create. It's also very evergreen, right? You create
Mhm.
it once. It is an investment to work with us. It is, it's not something that you kind of decide on a whim. You do take the time to do it. It's there's sometimes a little bit of pain involved with the process because we go so deep.
I'm
It's
sure there
also very,
is.
very fun.
Right?
But once you do it, you can use this video in your business for years to come. So unless you decide to pivot your business to speak to a different audience, this video will work across all your offers. It's offer agnostic, right? And so for that reason, we don't have any calls to action. We just have sort of the end of that conversation with a little bit of it's usually like something that sort of, we call it a kicker, and it's something that usually is inspiring. That's actually a word that our clients hear a lot from the people that watch their videos. They're like, wow, so inspired, right? I feel so
Right.
connected to you. I feel so inspired. And so they're inspired to do what? To take action with you, right? To follow
Right.
you, to engage with you, to think about you after they put their kids to sleep and your content comes up in their heads, right? It's really a connection piece that will outperform any other piece of content that you have, but it's not a marketing video that is directing them in a specific way.
Right, but it does have the call to action under it in the link, for
Correct.
example.
Around it,
Right.
you can surround it in all sorts of ways with other,
And
things
even
that are
learn
directing them in
more.
places.
Even saying learn more, click here. Even that
Right.
is a call to action because that's an action you want them to take, right? So you don't have to say it in the audio for it
Correct.
to work
Yeah, it's
that
just
way.
not part of that video, but like I
Right.
mentioned, the brand video page will have a button right below it,
Right.
for example, or yeah,
Or an
you're always
Instagram ad
surrounded
that
by
has the little learn more thing or whatever it is, wherever you're promoting it, your call to action can be separate to it. But I also think that your little kicker at the end is a call to action. It's just not direct, right? Let me show you the way. It's whatever that whole little thing is that kicks it is a call to action, but it's not aggressive. It's not
it's very
assertive.
subtle. Yes, it's
Yes,
very
it's
nuanced, very subtle, very,
yeah.
like, intimate.
I love it. I love that so, so much. What are some of those examples of the kickers that they put at the end just to kind of
My
demonstrate the
off the top
difference?
of my head.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
A few of my clients have used like, if I can do it, you can do it too. My kicker is a Steve Jobs quote saying the crazy people who think they can change the world are often the ones who do. I have another client that uses something a little bit more direct. It's like, let's get to work.
I
Those are
like
the ones I can kind
Yep.
of remember.
I often will say, "Let me show you the way. Let
Yes,
me show
that's a
you the
great
way."
one. Yeah.
I also like there was another one that I saw that was the end of a video, and it was very similar like that.
Mm,
It said, "Do something." It was obviously calling to action, but it didn't say, "Click to
click
buy
here.
this,"
Yes.
or right, it wasn't that aggressive, I like to say. I
Right.
mean, there's a time for that when we're doing
Exactly.
direct response, but you're still able to get them to take the action by being subtle, and that
Mhm.
is the kind of sneaky. I like it, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I love about it is that you're leading by magnetism, right? You're showing
Mhm.
them the way, you're drawing them in. There's no pushing. There's no scarcity and urgency. Like there again, I agree with you. There's a place for those, but in this moment where again, it lives top of funnel. It is meant to be watched the moment somebody comes into your universe, whether that's your social media profile, whether that's your email, whether that's your website, that moment, that magical moment where they're taking their energy and their time to learn about you, boy, you better have a good answer for them and really make the most of that magical opportunity to introduce yourself in the most human, kind, caring, awesome, expert way. And like that's why I love the name brand magnetic, is that it really is meant to, like, this is the thing that if you're my person, if we're meant to work together, this is how you can connect with me. In other content, I'm going to show you my specific expertise. I might show you my method. I might guide you in a specific way. I might shift your thinking about a certain thing. I'm going to be more practical and more showing up a bit more as the expert. But in this moment, I'm just Mariana and this is my story and this is what I love to do and how I know I can help you.
I love that. I love it so, so much. I do. In fact, I love it so much I could talk for hours more about it, but we ran out of time. Will link to your specific brand video so you guys can check that out and see a great example. But how else can the audience connect with you and find more information about you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on Instagram at brand magnetic. Also, if you're, listening to this episode and you're like, man, I don't know if I've done a good job of telling my story. I don't know if I'm really capturing people as soon as they meet me. Like, how do I actually, we didn't really talk about our framework. I have got a resource to help you out and to get you started and to really help you think about how your story can be the connecting point, making your story about your audience. And so you can grab that, the ultimate cheat sheet to a brand video that converts at brandmagnetic.com/cheat sheet. And lastly, I know I shouldn't be sending people to 3 different places, but
Well, we will link to all of them.
I
We will
know.
link to all of them in the show notes.
I'm the host of Empire Secrets of Digital Marketing podcast. So if you're a podcast listener, which clearly you are, you can hop on over and find me there.
Fantastic. And I will link to all of those things. Her podcast is available on all platforms and YouTube too. Is that right? Okay, perfect. I will link to all of those things. I am so grateful to have you on the show. You have such great expertise in video and branding in particular. Great information. It makes me want to run out and do a branding video myself. And I have a big project coming. So I'm going to have a big branding video. We may have to reconnect later for that. So until next week, you guys find out look in the show notes. You can connect to all of my stuff in there as usual. Please like, share, download, tell your friends, and leave us a review. And until next time, we're out.